Hello, welcome to the Pedestal Wife Society. I'm just going to make sure that my video and audio is perfect because I've made some changes and I've moved where I live stream it. So I want to make sure everything is working properly. If you're in the chat, please let me know if you can see and hear me. I'd appreciate that. Oh, oh, I got some indicators that you can hear and see me based off my own video playing in the background. So I'm going to be able to move forward accordingly. All right. So if you get in the chat, just let me know if you can see and hear me and everything is perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, Nina. Hello, 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 Miss Feels Good. Hey, Pedestal Wives. Welcome, welcome to the community. All right. So I really want to get into this. Why upper class men choose her. All of the videos under this topic, I saw they were created by men. And to me, that's very scary. Because if you're listening to the content or you've graduated from YouTube University, a lot of women will be leveled up to be with poor men. And I just could not allow that to happen. I just couldn't allow that type of information to be put out there to the community or to the pedestal wives without me doing my own video and getting in the algorithm or getting in the mix. So I want to talk about why do upper class men choose her. First of all, upper class men choose women who are in community with them. So let me go ahead and be very frank about the community part, because I think a lot of women believe that being in community with a man is at work with him. And that is not being in community with them. If he is choosing women of his community, it means that he's choosing women that go to the same restaurants, that go to the same events, that are part of the same professional organizations. That is what I mean when I say community. You working with him and seeing him at that 9 to 5 does not mean that you're in community with him. So I really want to clear that up. So, because I think a lot of women do believe that they're in community with these type of men that they desire because they go to work with them. And I'm going to tell you, that's not what I mean when I say community. When I say community, I mean you're on the board. When I say community, I mean you're going to certain events and professional galas and organizations that he's a part of. You're a part of them also. Certain social cliques, you're a part of them also. That is being in community with them. And if you want to take it further, it means that you may have even grew up in the community with him. You may have went to school with them. You may have went to college with them. This is what I mean when I say community. So if you think that, hey, I'm in community with them, why aren't these men, attracted to me? Why aren't these men asking me out on dates? It is because you need to be in community with them. The women that aren't in community with these men, they get first dibs. They get first dibs. That's the reason why on this platform, I push you being a part of these communities, you establishing yourself so that you can join professional organizations, that you establish yourself so that you can be invited to certain events, that you establish yourself so that you can be at the galas and the balls that they are currently at. So the reason why he chooses her is because she is in community with him. It doesn't necessarily mean she may even work with him. Okay. But working with a man of this caliber, this upper class man, does not mean that you're in community with them. So that's the first thing I want to give you. All right. And number two, and you all know how I am about numbers. So maybe someone wants to keep track, because I'm not going to keep track. I may lose pace, but I'm going to try to stay on pace and give you the numbers. So number two, she's speaking his language. And there is a language that upper class men speak that you need to learn. It's something that I had to learn. So let's break down the language that upper class men speak. There is the emotional language, where you're communicating in a way where he feels safe, he feels seen, he feels as though you see him as a person and not for his accomplishments, that you see his character and not the things he's accomplished in life. So that's the emotional language. And then there's the wealth language. The wealth language is the language of wealth, is legacy. And the biggest mistake that I see a lot of women making is that you're talking about lifestyle. You're talking about the present moment instead of the future. If you are a current pedestal wife, or you're currently in my inner circle, you already know I've taught you to talk in the way of future and versus present, because that's going to speak to legacy. That's going to speak to the language that he's used to. So, wealth language is going to be something that these women are speaking. And this goes back to the conversation that we had. I know we had a conversation 2 weeks ago. You all know how I am. I have to go through a period of rest. And plus, I want to move my live streaming place in my home and move it to another place to see if I can live stream more comfortably. And so I took a rest. And that means the last video I did probably was 2 weeks ago. And in that video, I talked about the fact that the wealth language is legacy. This means you're speaking on legacy, you're speaking on future endeavors, you're speaking on business, you're speaking on investments, you're speaking on things that are gonna compound so that your children's can take advantage of it. And so if you're at the table and you're talking more along the lines of lifestyle, I'm not saying that you're not going to get a chance to have sex with a upper class man. I am saying that you're not going to be the candidate for wife in the way that you desire, especially if you desire that. Not every woman desires that. And I am actually on the side of women of what they desire, by the way. So I'm not saying that if you don't want marriage, that may not matter to you. You might want to continue to talk about lifestyle and to continue to talk about things in the present moment instead of the future. But legacy talk is very important to them. And the power of self-powered language, self-powered language, where you're actually speaking in a space where you are speaking from a place of preference and not demand, where you're speaking from a place of feelings and expression and not anger and aggression. And this is another key aspect to why he chooses her, because she's speaking from a space of expression. I know personally, I've been doing this for a very long time, of mentoring and helping women reach their goals and becoming the woman that they desire to become. And one of the things that we had to focus in on is women not really wanting to express themselves. What happens is women have this mentality where they want him to immediately pick up on the things that she desires or wants from him, but she doesn't want to have to express anything. And that comes from a aspect of your feminine energy that's somewhat wounded, where maybe when you spoke up, you were dismissed in the last relationship, or when you spoke up, you were told to that to suck it up, or you were told that you don't have to always, you're too much because you feel too much, you're too sensitive. And so from that, a lot of women come out of that with certain wounding, where they want to go into a relationship with these type of men, and they want him to immediately know exactly what she's thinking or what she desires or wants from him, when men are really not that impressive. They're really they really do not operate from that space where they observe, but not to that level. A lot of times it's just they traveled through the previous women that they dated, and then they tried things based off what was successful in their previous dating history. So that's what men do. So you're a new person, you're a new woman, you require new things from him. And if you're not willing to express those things, you don't want to talk about how how things make you feel. You don't want to talk about your preferences. You want him to know everything immediately. That is the reason why he may choose her. He may choose her because of the fact that she is in tune with that aspect of her feminine energy, where expression is easy. It's easy to say, I don't feel good about this. Or it's easy to say, oh, I was really looking forward, or I like this that's in front of me, or I really prefer to go out for Chinese. It really doesn't sit right on my stomach to go and eat Mexican, because it really hurts my stomach after I eat it. And that is what I mean by women who are able to attract these men in and continuously attract in the upper class, the providers, the high value men, the men who have money, the men that have means, is because of the fact that they speak the language, and they speak his language specifically. One of the things that I try to key girls in and key women in to is that speaking his language by observing and listening to him and communicating is going to get you a whole lot further than you sitting back waiting for him to try to understand you. Okay. So, number two, speak his language. And in speaking his language, the emotional language of making him feel safe and making him feel seen, I want to clue women in that men, and some of you are probably going to get upset when I say this, but I got to say it because it's the truth of the matter. Men who are upper class and higher, and that seems to be the type of men that a lot of women are interested in and want to be attracted to them. Those type of men require nurturing, but not the type of nurturing that you would do for a child. If you're trying to baby or mother this type of man ill, you're turning him off. You're turning him away. You're absolutely showing that you're not ready for that type of commitment with that type of man. When I say nurturing, I mean you have to, he's interested more in you affirming his character and not his accomplishments. He's more interested in you affirming and reflecting back his mission or purpose more than you babying him or mothering him or finding solutions for him or doing everything for him. He doesn't desire that. That is not something that interests him. But if that triggered you, the nurturing issue, and I do know that seems to trigger a lot of women when I say something about nurturing, because you already have dealt with a man that you had to nurture. But what you did, you mothered him, you babied him, you did everything for him. You did everything for him because he was an adult. We're talking about a grown, full adult here that's an upper class man. And he doesn't want to be mothered or babied, but he does require nurture. And let's get to the next thing. Number three. Number three is highly important because this is another issue that I'm starting to come across, not in my practice, but when I go and I surf YouTube or other social media platforms, I realize that for some reason, women are not into high value vetting. A lot of women are not in high value vetting. They're not into intentional process finding out whether a partner aligned with standards, values, and long-term goals. That's what high value vetting is. A lot of women have this mentality that there's no use in vetting because he is or he will become something different. And I can tell you, men are not that impressive and they're not that smart. A lot of times, men are just repeating a cycle of dating issues and problems that they had prior. So, vetting can absolutely help you eliminate some of the men that will be red flags. But I've noticed that when it comes to vetting, and I don't know why it is, a lot of you all need to chime in. And probably if you figure or find out this is something that you struggle with also, for some reason, it is taboo for a lot of women to vet money. And you should not be scared to vet money. Vetting money is absolutely a part of the process of high value vetting, and for a woman who wants to be in relationship or commitment with a upper class man, because you have to be, not only is this process important, it's important because it shows that you are very selective. Not having a process, not being intentional in your vetting shows that you do not have a process. And a lot of these men, when they are able to, because they're going to be vetting you, by the way, they're going to be vetting you. And so they're vetting you and noticing that you don't have an intentional process, you're not interested in high value vetting, then they're not going to be able to take you seriously. Not for the type of commitments that a lot of women desire in my community. Most women in my community, they either want some type of commitment or they want marriage. They are not willing to be in some type of a situation ship where their role is not defined. And so, and I encourage women not to waste your time being in something where the role isn't defined, because you are losing out on getting the things that you desire, because that situation is definitely going to hold you back. But high value vetting is an intentional process of vetting a man's lifestyle, values, and his long term goals. And every woman should incorporate high value vetting. Every woman should have some process in order to make sure that this man is aligning with the vision that she has for herself. Just because you're in the room with these men, you get to choose what man gets to stay in the room with you. You're always in power within this. And I teach from a place of power. So high value vetting. Don't don't neglect to go through the entire process. If you don't have a process, I do have a process. I have a process, and my process has been very successful. And it's been successful with other women who've absolutely have taken it and followed the process through. Um, it's on my website, Vetting 101. I can definitely drop it in the chat before the end of the live stream. And if you're an inner circle member, you already have access to Vetting 101. But you should have a process. That's the reason why he's choosing her, because she's very selective. When he goes through his vetting process, he can see that it's not randoms, or she's not dating in random. Everything has a purpose and intention by the way that she's dating. That is the reason why a lot of in the entertainment field, you will see men dating that one girl. And every woman's like, why is she dating that one girl? Because one, she speaks his language. She's already aware of the entertainment field and the issues that come with it. And then three, he can already tell that she has a clear process for vetting those type of men. Probably her only process, maybe or requirement, is that they're in the entertainment field. But he can see that she's intentional about it because she's dating the same man. And men do look at that. They do look and see if you're intentional. They do look to see if you have some type of process to vet the men that you want to interact with. So high value vetting. All right. And she has high standards and self-confidence. High standards is another way also to signal that you're very selective. When you have high standards and you have a certain rules and requirements for entry into your life, it shows that you're selective about the people that you deal with, interact with, or have romantic relationships with. And this is also another aspect, another thing that men that are upper class look for. And like I said, that's the reason why they kind of tend to stay in their own cliques, in their own circles, because they know the requirements and rules that these women have for entry into their lives. So that they're not going to have, for some reason, it does offend men to a certain degree to know that you don't have a process and you allow randoms to have your time and your energy and to be in your life. It does uh, it does register to them. And that's the reason why I think it's so important that you not only have high standards and confidence, you also have a vetting process. She knows her worth. She doesn't chase. She doesn't settle. And she has clear standards. As soon as she sees that he is not speaking to her respectfully, in a respectful manner, then she lets him go. There is no conversation about his feelings and his bad day or what happened. It's more along those lines that you've already crossed a line with me. You've already violated. You've already either I have to lower my standards to be with you or have to change them to be with you. And that should be the thinking that you should have when you're dealing with upper class men or any type of man that you decide to deal with. Remember, this video is specifically about upper class men, but any man you decide to deal with, you need to ask yourself, am I consistently lowering my standards for him, or am I constantly changing them because he can't meet them? But she has high confidence and high standard. What was that? That was 4. Didn't I tell you all I would lose numbers? Was that 4 or was that 3? Okay, we're going to go with 4. I'm going to say 4. All right. Number 5. He chose her because she understands that there is a value exchange. I know, specifically being on social media and looking at YouTube, that there is a lot of women that believe that there shouldn't be a value exchange because of love. And see, love is not a conversation among the upper class. It's not a requirement among the upper class. I'm not saying that men that are of the upper class don't desire love or would like to wouldn't want don't care if they have it or not. I am saying it's not the number one thing that they would be vetting for, the number one thing that they would be requiring, because love in these circles, and remember, I've talked about how I was blown away hearing these conversations in these circles where they were talking more along the lines of legacy and then love growing after. So they don't speak on falling in love, they speak on growing in love. And the basis of of growing in love is more along the lines of having similar vision, values, and lifestyle. And the value exchange that women that date upper class men understand is they understand that there's an exchange for the values, that the things that I'm giving him that's of benefit to him, that he is supposed to give, I'm supposed to receive something back. And let me give you an example of that. First of all, if I'm his muse, maybe I'm his inspiration. And in his inspiration, men of the upper class understand that I may require protection. I may require, I may require leadership. I may require resources. They understand there's a value exchange. And the thing is, with a lot of women going on YouTube University, they have convinced themselves that there isn't a value exchange. And I'm going to tell you from experience that there is a value exchange in this type of relationship, in these type of relationships. And honestly, I would say there's a value exchange in every relationship, but specifically, we're talking about upper class men, that there's a value exchange. So there is no, I'm going to get these protection, these resources, these things. I'm going to get introductions to certain social cliques. I'm going to be introduced to his professional organization or his connections or his contacts without there being a value exchange. There is going to be a value exchange. Your goal or job within this entire dynamic is to make sure that the value exchange is beneficial to you. That is what your job should be. But there is a value exchange that will occur. And most women who operate in these spaces in the upper class, they understand there's a value exchange. They understand that um, if I am giving him social capital, okay, let's say I'm giving him social capital, I'm on his arm. He's able to utilize my beauty to get into certain social cliques that he wouldn't be able to get in without my beauty. So my beauty should get me into more exclusive social cliques and more exclusive social circles or events. That is the exchange. We know that there's some type of exchange that should happen. And most women who operate in these spaces, they understand that. They understand the wholeheartedly. Understand that their beauty is can be used or leveraged for that exchange, and they don't mind doing so. They're not under this misconception that love is supposed to have all these exchanges happen, and there's nothing that I have to give. There's nothing that I have to do. And when I say do, don't get scared, I'm really just talking about values. Like if he values me motivating him, then there should be some type of beneficial exchange where maybe for the motivation and the energy that I'm putting into him and pouring into him, my life force energy that's helping making him great, helping him make more money, that I should have security. Maybe I should have some security and safety from that exchange. But we don't deny that there is an exchange. We're not under any type of delusion that we're getting these things and there isn't an exchange. So if you're speaking to women who are in or operate in these spaces or they date in these spaces, they should be honest with you and explain to you that there's some type of exchange happening here. Like I'm being his muse, I'm being inspiration, I'm his motivator, I am affirming him, I am giving him, I'm allowing him to use my beauty. There is exchange. Yes, are there situations where the exchange doesn't happen, where the woman is naive and the guy takes advantage of her, where he's getting all the benefits and she gets nothing? Absolutely. That's the reason why I'm telling you that there is an exchange. So you don't go in with a being naive or thinking that it's love and this emotion that we feel for each other, that should accommodate for the exchange. And that may you may mentally make yourself think that it's okay not to receive or not to get anything out of the exchange, and he's receiving all the benefits. So that is, and I'm gonna pause right here and let everybody in. If you're in the comment section, just let me know you're here. Hey Amber. Hey, happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. But I really didn't want to do this from a space of you have to wear certain colors or certain hairstyles or have a certain perfume, because all of that is subjective. All of those things do not take in account that men are different, that men are attracted to different things. There are men that love the color black. There are men that love the color red. There are men that love the color purple. There are men that love the color blue. So there is no specific color. So all of the videos is pushing, hey, if you wear this color, upperclassmen are going to be more attracted to you. I'm going to tell you that's subjective. I'm not saying they won't be attractive, but I wouldn't count on it. I wouldn't put all my eggs in one basket on it, because that's not true. What they're going to be more attracted to is your feminine energetics. They're going to be attracted to your vibe. That's what I consider to be your energetics, is your vibe, the energy that comes from your behavior, your actions, and the things that are going on internally within you. That's what they're going to be attracted to more. Now, yes, should you be pretty? Of course, you should take care of yourself. Of course, you should look your best. You should look your best, but I wouldn't put all my eggs in one basket of trying to wear a specific hairstyle or specific dress or specific color or specific shoes, or going out in monochromatic colors in order to attract upper class men, because you may lose that bet. You may lose that bet because that is not what they're looking for. That is not what's going to make you attractive. That's not what's going to draw them in. And anyway, if a lot of other women are all taking that similar advice, how do you stand out among other women? Because when it comes down to it, when you're being yourself, you're being your most authentic self will get you seen, will make your presence be felt. And that is what I've learned. The more that you try to blend in or become what he likes or become one of many, the harder you make your journey of trying to social climb. All right. So if you have any questions in the chat, drop them. I'm open to questions. But I just wanted to talk about, I really wanted to add something to that conversation, because when I Googled this topic particularly, it was a whole bunch of men. And you all know how I feel about men. And if you watch my video where I talk about men are not impressive, you know how I feel about men. So I really wanted to add my video to the algorithm. But I also want to add some good information so that you can utilize this if you wanted to be that type. If you want to social climb, which I absolutely have nothing wrong with social climbing. I think social climbing is actually good for every woman. I believe every woman should social climb, because social climb is not just about men. Social climbing also is about connecting and networking with people who are not like yourself. I believe women should social climb. I think that what we've done ourselves a disservice is listening to men tell us that social climbing is bad, when social climbing led to my transformation. Social climbing led to us having more money. That's what social climbing did for us, because I come from the backwoods. I come from the country. I come from growing up looking at dirt floors. I come from poverty, and social climbing helped transform me. And so I believe every woman should social climb, because it does more for you than just getting with a high caliber man or upper class man or provider or man of means or high value man. It absolutely helps you connect with you. It helps you to master you. It helps you to work on your feminine energetics and your presence. It helps you to work on connecting and securing different relationships. It also helps, what I can just tell you about my personal experience. I can tell you personally, it helped healed a lot of my woundedness surrounding women. Because the thing is, when you're social climbing and you're doing it properly, women are the gatekeepers of social climbing, by the way. So if you have some woundedness around women where you've had in the past where women wounded you, women betrayed you, like I've talked about the fact that I had when I was in high school, I had my best friend slept with my boyfriend, and that kind of changed my how I saw women, how I connected with women, how what I spoke about with women. Like that changed, and that kind of healed that wounding because I had to face it. I could no longer like see, the thing is when you try to rely on men to bring you in certain social cliques, they're bringing you in for social currency. They're bringing you in for beauty. They don't introduce you to the right people per se. But when you absolutely make friends with women, they bring you to the inner circle. And that's where most women need to be. Like the deals are made on the inner circle. That's the reason why when I hear such advice of getting memberships at golf clubs, you all know that golf club membership is only part of, it's like on half of the battle, because there's an inner circle to the golf club. And the only way you're going to get committed to that is by through women. And so that's why I said social climbing definitely helped heal that woundedness around dealing with women and interacting with women, and being able to connect with women in a way where, you know, getting close to women, because I had backed away due to my experience with them. So I feel like social climbing should be suggested to every woman, because it did help me to, it helped me also to get to know who I am. Because at one point I could say I was a raging introvert, but now since I have like, and I like, by the way, let me go ahead and put it out there. I no longer focus on social climbing anymore. I'm pretty much the girl that moved to the country and to live on her farm. Okay. But when I was in the midst of it, when I was in the gist of trying to social climb and going to the parties to help my husband grow and go up the ladder in corporate, I was connecting and trying to get to know and being a part of the inner circle. That's the reason why I know so much about social climbing. That's the reason why I suggest it to all women, especially if you are trying to become better. You're trying to improve. You want to be that girl. You want to be the it girl. A lot of women want to be the it girl, but you don't want to do what the it girl did. The it girl had to put herself out there. The it girl had to face her wounding. The it girl had to try things that she never tried before. The it girl had to work on her energetics. And that's what I had to do. Social climate is like ascension. Who wants to descend? Absolutely. Social climate is like ascension. And even though I moved to the country, I think since it's ingrained in me to want a social climb and want to know who the who's and who's of society in that area, I still find myself wanting to figure out where they are hanging out, and maybe join those clubs or join those organizations or be on the board. And I had to pull back because like that's not what I'm doing. I'm not in that phase of life. I don't have a reason to social climb. My husband is where he needs to be, but it's still ingrained in me because I know what positive things that it did for me. It pulled me out of my shell. It helped me with my wounding around women. It helped me to want to try new things. It helped me to put myself out there. And that's the things that most women should do or want to do. And especially if a lot of women have the dream of becoming the it girl or becoming that girl, but then are you willing to do what that girl, or are you willing to do what that it girl did? And every time I think about it, and that's a good point, Amber, because every time I think about it, do I really want to? Because there's also, let me tell you this, I'm gonna give y'all another little tip here. And I already knew this because I had a friend a long time ago, right? I had a friend. I lived in the city and she lived in the country. And my friend was like, "Oh, I need to move." Like, I don't know why y'all all think y'all got to move. You all think y'all have to move to get to the inner circle of society. I'm gonna tell you, don't, because every little small town, every country, every little small town, every little small country in United States, we're talking, all have their hierarchy system of society. They have their own society. And a lot of times you are surrounded by it and don't know it. Sometimes you're walking past it and walking past them and don't know it. Like for instance, like for in the country, like small towns, a lot of times the people that you need to know, their names on the building, their names on the street. They are in a part of all the professional organizations. Their names may be on stores. You just have to actually learn the history of the town to find out the founding fathers, to figure out who are the families that sit on the board that run the town. And trust me, every small town has one. And I remember when I clued her into that, it helped her to be able to social climb in a small town because it's there. These people, just because they live in a country, just because they live in a small town, just because they live in an area where there may be 50 people, there's still a founding family or founding families. And if you're wanting to be a part of inner circle and you wanted to connect, you want a social climb, go find the founding fathers or the founding families of that small town. And I guarantee you'll be able to find the people who kind of run the town, who are the movers and shakers of that town. So you can social climb no matter where you are. You do not have to be in the city. You do not have to be in the city. So even though I stay in a small town, it's a part of me just wants to go and social climb a little bit and kind of connect with these people, even though I already know that I am in community with them because they're the golf club, the golf club that they live is here. It's in this community. So I already kind of, around the movers and shakers. I know how to live around them and be in community with them anyway. But I was thinking about, one part of me wants to go and dig a little deeper and go to some of the events because that's what I'm used to. But I promised myself that I was going to kind of step back and just kind of go with the flow of what my inner work is bringing up for me. And my inner work determines my image, the way that I look, the way that I move. And that's what I'm feeling. Just because I had that little urge, it's not strong enough for me to go and follow it. Okay. It's just something that I'm used to. I'm used to trying to figure out where are the who's of society, where are they at, and being around them. And being around the who's of society, you're going to find yourself having more money. You're going to find yourself having more influence. You're going to find yourself having more connections and contacts. And that's the reason why probably I have this urge or this little small urge of wanting to find out in this small town. But I'm like, no, I've done that for years. Like I'm over the events, the galas, and the rubbing elbows with the right people. I'm kind of over it a little bit because I did it for so long because my husband was invited to all these things. And now he's in a position, in a place in his career where he doesn't need to do those things as much. And I'm excited about the rest. And now I'm kind of more focused on my thing. Like I already have my thing. Don't stop the things that you love just because you're pouring into or nurturing your husband's business or career. Don't stop the things you love. Don't stop the things that make you light up, that makes you feel good. I never stopped it and I never will. But I want to pour more energy into social media, more energy into connecting with the pedestal eyes of my community. Because you all are so patient with me. You all understand me. You get me. And I appreciate that a lot. You understand when I go in rest mode and I just don't have the inkling or I don't have any downloads or anything impactful to share with you. So I go in rest mode and I come back when I have so much to share. And I do. I have a lot to share. So the 2 weeks that I was taking a rest, it's not for naught. I have a lot to come back with. I have a lot of content to come back. And by the way, I've created the goddess codes, by the way. I created the goddess codes because I wanted women, because in this process of talking about the class of men, like talking about the different classes that men are belong to, I realized that certain aspects of feminine energy for women are wounded. And it's time to remember where you would be if you weren't wounded. So I came up with and created the goddess codes, and it's going to drop in June. And I have the link down in my description box after this video. You're going to want to be a part of it because it goes in, it's going to use the feminine archetypes the wisdom, the blueprint of the feminine archetypes in order to help you heal aspects of your feminine energy. Especially if when I say something about nurturing, I saw the drop in my numbers because a lot of women, anytime they hear nurturing, it triggers them because of the fact they triggered some dusty, they triggered some no good man, and he gave them nothing back. And when I say nurturing, I'm not talking about babying a mother and a man. I would never. And I know from experience that if you nurture or baby an upper class man, then you're not showing that you even want to be with him, man. Is he really your man? Are you really looking for commitment? Because those type of men do not desire to be babied or mothered. When I say nurture, I am talking about affirm. Learn how to affirm him. Learn how to affirm him. But this also goes back to the mentality and the woundedness that's coming from YouTube University, where a lot of women are thinking that love covers all sin, that love will make sure that I don't have to give anything, that I don't have to, there's no type of exchange for the things that he's going to give me. There's nothing that I have to do. There's nothing I have to give. And I'm going to tell you that's not true. Every human being in healthy relationship, there's some type of exchange. There's some type of benefit. There's something that they are receiving. And so I created the goddess codes because some women need to take the sage challenge. And that's for some of the women who are not very calm, who need a process to work through their issues. And that's in the sage challenge, 7 days. It's included in the goddess codes that's going to be dropping in June. When I tell you, sometimes when I rest, I get the most important downloads for my community, the most important things that are needed so that the women in my community, the Pedestal Wife Society, can go further. Because I want you to be filthy rich. I'm going to keep saying it over and over because I know repetition and absolutely leads to learning. As a former teacher, repetition leads to learning. So I'm going to keep saying it over and over. I want you to be filthy rich. And remember, I am not concerned if you get that way through marriage or you get that way through creating your own wealth. Even though I do encourage you to also always be creating your own wealth, because you're going to have an overflow of that energy and you should be putting it into you and back into the things that you are loving and desiring at the moment so that you can multiply and create more of it. But the goddess codes will be dropping in June, and I'm so excited about it because I already know it's going to be a game changer. It's going to be a game changer. And we're going to be using feminine archetypes in order to heal aspects of your feminine energy. So you're going to hear more along the lines of the mother, the sage, the lover. You're going to be able to hear about the huntress. You're going to be able to hear about those feminine archetypes because those feminine archetypes are no more than the blueprint. They're the history that you need to remember, that you have inside of you, the power that you have inside of you. So we're going to utilize that power and we're going to start to heal that wounded feminine, that aspect of feminine energy that you have been ignoring or you haven't recognized that you need to take care of. Just like when I can absolutely say wholeheartedly that social climbing helped me to heal around the woundedness that I had around women, because women are the gatekeepers of social climbing, and being able to connect with them and to reach them, I had to let go of some of that woman, and it healed me to do so, because I was one of those ones that were also walking around talking about women are so jealous of me. Women are so jealous of me. They don't like me. Like, if you are that, you already have some issues that you need to deal with. Your wounded is on display. Your wounded is on display, love. And because a woman who is not wounded, even if she comes across jealous energy in a woman, she doesn't focus on it. She doesn't let it get her off her vision or her path. She doesn't allow it to change her mood. She doesn't allow it to change the direction that she's going. She just learned to pivot and possibly, cut that person out and move on to the next person and not carry any bad will or thinking about the next woman just because one woman was jealous. And I realized that there is an uptick in these type of videos where women are like, oh, she's so jealous of me. Like, why would you even focus on the person who has jealous energy of you? Like, I look at that as that's a compliment. I look at that as she sees something in me that she likes. She sees something in me that she wants to be. That is a compliment. And it's not my job to go over here and try to fix her or find out why she's jealous of me or even bring attention to it. It's my job to move around and pivot to someone else who doesn't have that energy. Having issues with being seen as a threat by many women in these environments, even if I dim myself, I don't focus on it, but other men do notice, can be isolated. You're not supposed to dim yourself. Just because she's jealous, why would you dim yourself just because someone else has feelings? Those are their feelings. Feelings are nothing more than information. It's their information that they're receiving about you. And that is not your problem. You should not be dimming yourself just because someone feels jealous of you. You should be able to move around and move around to other people who do not have or carry that type of energy. Don't entertain or engage with people who are jealous. Move around and deal with people who aren't. And don't focus on it. It's not worth it. It's a waste of time and energy. And see, the thing is, I'm going to tell you in all love that men noticing jealousy in another woman about you is not about you. Men noticing jealousy in another woman is a way just to manipulate you. And that's the reason why I say that we do need the goddess code, because women are a lot of times other women make each other uneasy. And it's usually something that really isn't that important. And then when you put men in the mix of it, it becomes a mess. It becomes chaos. A man noticing that other women are jealous of you is not because he's concerned about that. That is not for your well-being. That is for his own manipulation. That's for his own thing. That's for his own well-being. That's for his own thing to point out. He can utilize it as a stepping stone and say, hey, these women are jealous of you. It could be a talking point. It could be a way to get you to it may be a talking point, a way to make you feel good about yourself, but he's using it for his own well-being. He's using it for his own advantage. He's not caring about another woman being jealous of you. And that's not understanding men. Yes, men using their advantage, playing both sides. And he's playing both sides. Men aren't, like I said, men are not that impressive. I don't understand why y'all need to get me when I say men are not that impressive. And once you truly understand who they are and how they move, then you're like, okay, then you get to choose who's in the room with you. You get to choose who you marry. You get to choose who you engage or entertain. You get to choose when you really understand men. When you don't understand, men are choosing when you don't understand. And they rely on you not understanding. They rely on you not understanding men, because a lot of women who do have this information or advice, I don't know. I think there is I don't know what I want to call it, because I know personally I had to, when it came to understanding men, I had mentorship from my grandmother, but I also had another woman who had the lifestyle that I desired. She mentored me too. So I got the information from women, but I've noticed that there's been a shift since my time. I'm 44 years old. And so there's been a shift. And I do believe that there's been a shift where women are not giving that advice as much. Older women, wise women, they're not stepping up, giving that advice. And I can see both sides of the issue. I can see both sides, both reasons of why. On one side, the young people are like, well, you didn't do any of these things. You didn't accomplish anything. And they're like, I can't listen to you. And then on the other side, wise when people or older people are trying to give advice from the experiences and things that they've learned, but it's not being taken or received by young people. So I kind of get why there's been a breakdown or a disconnect, because this advice or information or understanding men should go from mother to daughter, and it's supposed to continue on. But I can see, as I've gotten older, I can see the disconnect. I can see where the break happened. How close do you recommend getting with ladies while social climbing? Should it be friendly but still reserved and private? Reserved and private. Because I'm going to tell you that when it comes to the women that are gatekeepers of social climbing, they are reserved and private. I would not trust them as far as I can throw them. And that's on us having commonalities, but not sharing friendship. Friendship is not important in this dynamic. I'm not talking about friendship. I'm not talking about you braiding each other's hair. I'm talking about you being in connect with another woman very easily and you're not making the other woman feel easy or her making you feel uneasy, but reserved in private. Okay, until you do what you should do with any human being, with anybody, is vet them. You should vet them thoroughly before you go any further. Before you become really friendly, when y'all are at each other's house and you're relaying private information to that person, then I would vet them. I vet people. I vet men just like I vet friends. I vet anyone that I'm going to bring into my inner circle, into my home, into my sanctuary. I vet them thoroughly, and you should do. You should too. Before you let anyone into your private space, into your life, your private life, you should vet them. But I would go in the beginning reserved and private. And they're going to appreciate it because a lot of them are not friends. A lot of them are there on the board. They're there hosting events. They're there just because of commonalities, because maybe their husband worked together, or but maybe their husbands are business partners. They have commonalities, but some of them, a lot of times you're going to find that they're not friends. You're going to find a lot of times out of the social cliques that their friends are outside of those social cliques, because mine have always been. All right, so we've been here for 50 minutes. You all know how I am. As long as you're talking or asking questions, I'll stay. But I like to wrap things up usually around an hour. You're welcome. You're welcome. But social climate should be something. It's also something I'm going to be including in my inner circle, which you all, the Pestle Wives, you already know. You've asked me over and over to do a social climbing workshop, and I have never gotten around to it. But I am absolutely compiling that information so I can give you a social climbing workshop, and we're going to have one. Even though I've always touched on social climbing and how important it is for women. Women need a social climb. Stop listening to people who look at it in a negative way. Uh, Especially when they don't have the things that you're looking for. Especially when I think every woman, when it comes to social climbing, I look at it as though you are shooting for the stars, even if you land on the moon. At least you are taking a shot. At least you are taking a shot. At least you will end up with being around the right people that align with your vision and your goals and your values. And that's what you want to do. You want to be around those people who have integrity, that you have integrity. You want to be around those people who are honest because you're honest. You want to be around those people who want to live a certain way and want to have a certain lifestyle. So you want to be around these people. And the only way to get there is to start to show social climb, regardless if you are in a small town or if you live in a big city. They're actually, the tactics are somewhat similar. I would say small towns are always easier. Small towns are always easier to social climb in. And when my friend, she stayed in a small town, and I lived in the city at that point, and she stayed in a small town, and she started taking in the tactics and techniques that I was giving her to social climb in that small town, and she started uh being invited into certain organizations that she had no professional access to, which means she wasn't working for it, but she had invitations to go to their events based off the information I gave her. And she's like, "Oh, so you can social climb in a small town?" I said, "You sure can. You just have to know where to go. You have to know how to find the information." All right, so I'm just looking through any comments, make sure I did not lose them. Lola, did I say anything to you? I hope I did. Hello, babe. I love being here with you. I love that you're here. Thank you for stopping by. Okay, so I didn't miss anything. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. So if you have any questions, go ahead and drop it in the chat before I get ready to close out. But he's not choosing her because she has monochromatic coloring, or she's decided to wear one special color, and that color is going to attract the type of men that she desire. He's wanting to be with her because they speak the same language. He's wanting to be with her because she understands there's an exchange for being with him. She understands that he wants to be with her because she has high standards and self-confidence. He wants to be with her because she has a great energetics, a great feminine energetics, a great vibe about her. One thing I'm working on is not expressing my opinion so much. It's been hard to stop because how I learned to socialize, and my family does it a lot. Any recommendations? Stop. Okay. Every time that you're about to express your opinion and your opinion is not going to matter or is not going to help you in that instant, I want you to shut your mouth. Because opinions, there's nothing wrong with having an opinion. I absolutely have opinions. I talk about these opinions online. I talk about these opinions to my husband, but there's a time and a place for them to also. If you're in a place where the opinion doesn't matter or the opinion is not going to be helpful, I want you to shut your mouth. I want you to literally just shut your mouth, just immediately hear my voice and just shut your mouth at that moment. Because expressing, it's good that you got the expression down. So when it comes down to when relationships go further or you have a commitment with the man, then you'll be able to express yourself. That's a good thing. I feel like that's a good thing. So I want to pat you in the back for being able to express yourself or to express your opinion. When I have come across a lot of women that have a issue with expression. When you have wounding, you might not be able to express, but you don't have that, and that's a good thing. But now it's time for you to start thinking time and place. Is this a time when my opinion would matter or would it change anything? Or if it isn't, then maybe it's time for me just to shut it and just shut your mouth. Because honestly, if socializing is one of the reasons that you do this, let me give you another tip. Shutting your mouth and listening. People like to talk. I've been very honest on social media when I say that I talk the most on social media. You know why I talk the most on social media and not in real life? Because the less that I talk, the more that I learn, the more that I observe, the more that I get from that person, the more that I'm able to read that person clearly and thoroughly. And so that's what you need to utilize as your socializing technique. Instead of thinking about putting my opinion out there, let me take the time to kind of observe and listen. Observe and listen and pay attention, because most people, the greatest thing that you can give another person sometimes is to be heard. So if you're listening to them talk, you're listening to what they have to say, and you're responding in the right moment, they will feel good about that, and they want to talk more, and they're going to want to spend more time with you, and they're going to want to be around you more. They're going to want to socialize with you more also, and that's a good thing. So if that is a habit that you have created with you and your family, start doing the opposite of that and start listening and listening to what that person has to say, because you will find that, like, even if you all I had a one of my friends do this on a date. She was going out on a date with a rich guy, and this is before I came to social media. I told you all I've been doing this a long time. This is before I came to social media. And I told her, I was like, she was like confused about what to say. She wanted to know what to say. I said, don't say anything. Don't say anything. She said, is that going to work? I said, it will. I'm not saying that it means that you're going to choose him or you're going to like him or you're going to want to be in commitment or in relationship with him. I just say it's going to work. You'll get another date. And she did it, and she found out she got another date. The man asked her out on another date, and she hadn't even opened her mouth. And she was blown away. She's like, men operate like this? I said, yes, they do. Because a lot of times men are not used to being seen. That is valuable to them. So if they're sitting here talking and you're just listening and you're only commenting in certain, points where he's directing questions towards you and you answer whatever, it works. So use that as a technique for you socializing. And I guarantee you, before the end of the week, you're going to find out a lot about the people that you're socializing with. You're going to find out a lot about uh, what a person is requiring of you, or you're even going to find out how they see you. You can learn a lot by just shutting your mouth. And try that as a socializing technique. And you're going to find I guarantee if you come back to this page and come back to one of my live streams, you're going to tell me that it worked and that you found out some more information, or you might even get invited to more things just because you shut your mouth. All right. So I don't see any more comments, or excuse me, I don't see any questions in the chat. So if you don't have anything else, I know that there's a lag between me and you. So I'm gonna give you opportunity to drop any other questions that you have. If not, go ahead and make sure that you take time to like the video. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. We're going to be coming back here with another one. I don't like to let it loose too early what I'm going to do, but I have some great content coming. And then I also have the Goddess Codes that's going to be dropping in June. You're going to want to be a part of that, especially for definitely is going to be for women who want to heal the aspects of your feminine energetics that is holding you back. Maybe nurturing, maybe you're being calm, maybe being receptive or being able to receive. And we're gonna do that through using feminine archetypes, which is the original blueprint for feminine energy. And so I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be so much fun. You all know I like to do things that's going to be fun, impactful, and it's going to give me opportunity to be in community with the ladies that support me, the Pedestal Wife Society. Thank you, Pedestal Wives, for your patience and your love. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you all so much. You all just do not know how much I appreciate you, ladies. All right, so I don't see anything in the chat or the comment section. I don't see any questions or anything left in the chat. So I'm going to go ahead and close out, and I'm going to go to lunch with my baby because my baby's home from college. So I'm going to go out to lunch with her, and I will see you all on the next one. You all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.